Good morning, everybody. It is 11:21 on October 31st. There we are. We've caught up. It is October 31st. It is Halloween. I am getting those messages that says my bit rate is too slow, so if you can't see me or hear me, give me a shout out, let me know. It is Halloween, which is by far and away my favorite holiday of the year. I think the only one that comes even close is Thanksgiving, because again, a day dedicated to food is all as I'm totally down for that. It is 11:20 or 11:21. So I'm a little bit late because I was momming. I had to make breakfast for someone who was home because she broke her foot 2 weeks ago, and the pain got really, really bad yesterday. So she's home today because she didn't sleep much last night because her pain was terrible. So we are going to the doctors tomorrow. So wish us luck, and we hope that they give us a different solution than what we've got, or at least give us some answers as to why it's still so painful. So that's what we are about here in the Thomas household. And I hope you are had a you had it was a really lovely weekend. So I hope you had a nice, lovely weekend. Last night, Lily and I drove around to a bunch of different houses in town and looked at all of the Halloween displays, all of the lights and ghosts and ghouls and goblins, and we rated them, and there were some houses that really did an amazing job. There used to be a house here in Marlborough called the Haunted Burrow, but he decided this year for the first time not to do that, and last year I got to see it. It was exquisite. He said it took him about 2 weeks to finish that display, and I can see it because he must have had over 200 pumpkins, just pumpkins. He had all scenes and graveyards and ghosts, and it was amazing. So the houses that we saw yesterday weren't necessarily to that degree, but we saw some that were really, really impressive. And that was I was excited that we got to do something Halloweeny. Good morning, Cam. Yes, Blessed Samhain, exactly. And it is Samhain. It is the pagan New Year. So the time of Halloween is that time of the veiling, the thinning of the veils, which, the thinning of the veils we think of between this world and the spirit world, which is actually, that's absolutely true. It's the thinning of those veils, but it's also the thinning of the veils among all the worlds. So all of the worlds that I, I don't know if this is true, but this is something that I feel and have thought for a long time, that there are not just this world and the next world, there are many realms. Like every time, I sort of think of it as like every time we've made a decision on something, like a world or a realm or a dimension splits off, and the decision to go one way goes in that world, and the decision to go the other way goes in this world. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's a fiction thing, but it does resonate. And so I think that I was talking to a client this morning about this exact thing, and we were talking about that the veil thinning is, yes, between this world and the spirit world for certain, and also we were talking about how it was the thinning of the veils between all of the worlds, past and present and future. We actually did a really cool we had a really cool discussion where we uncovered some things from like a way, way, way past life in potentially Atlantis. And so just it had echoes and remnants of what she was dealing with in this lifetime. So it was actually really cool to uncover that. And I think we did so because she was at the crux of many worlds, and because it's Halloween, because that we are in the crux of many worlds. And so for today, I invite you to treat this time as sacred. Be very careful of what you speak, and because words are spells. So the words we speak and the language we use is very important. And especially on days like today when the words we speak could sprout whole worlds. We want to just be very careful of the words that we speak and the language that we use, especially towards ourselves. I had a friend of mine over the weekend have some she was having some challenges, and it was her mind was telling her terrible stories, and she was believing them, and she had a challenging weekend because her mind was speaking these terrible, terrible, terrible spells and then creating these worlds where that was true. And, she did feel like she was caught in between the worlds. And when, like today, like Halloween, the that we're in the time between spaces, it's critical when we speak words like that. So be mindful of the words that you use today, and be mindful of the words that you speak in your thoughts, because they really are things. I want to read a poem. This is so I didn't do a Samhain ritual this year. This is probably the first time in a long time that I didn't do a Samhain ritual, and I couldn't get my act together to do it, and um, whatever. So I didn't even create my Samhain altar, which is again unheard of. But I have this book. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I've had it. It's a Halloween book by one of my favorite authors, pagan authors, Silver Ravenwolf. And it is the truth about Halloween, or um, but there's a poem in here that I want you to listen to. Druids would not know this night, and witches would wonder. Let's start over again. Druids would not know this night, and witches would in wonder gaze, to see the festive costumed souls that dash about the night in play. Where ancient magic ruled the land, children's laughter fills the soul. And yet, in this way, the night is honored, much like the ancients long ago. And I brought that up because so many of us kids are and adults are going to be trick-or-treating tonight and getting dressed up and wearing costumes, and in ancient pagan traditions, one of the reasons why we would dress up in costume is that we were projecting what it is we wanted to be for the year. So when you put on a costume like that, you're actually trying on the persona of what you are calling forth to you in the year. Because, for pagans, and for witches and druids and people who follow the circle, the wheel of life, the wheel of the earth, this is the end of the year, and there will be a dark time between now and the winter solstice, when there isn't much activity really, and we will be in the between time. In the ancient the ancient Greeks believed that Demeter went into the underworld to find her daughter Persephone, and so she took her light out of the world. And that's actually so it's that's we're in Scorpio season. We're in the time of the introspection. We're in the time of the coming in. And Scorpio season is all about looking at the unseen, looking at the the shadow. What is it that wants to be healed? What is it that's up for you? What is it that's ready? And those unseen places in us that we would rather not look at. So Scorpio shines a light on those unseen places. That's what its job is here to do. And Jupiter, because Jupiter is about to station retrograde for the next several months, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, and it's highlighting everything that would be happening in Scorpio season. So that actually is highlighting that it's going from a spotlight to like an intense mag light. So we're really being asked right now in a very real way to ask and clear out and shine a light on the places that we would rather not see, the unseen. It's the reason why I always start my shadows course in October, because we're in that season of let's dive in and uncover, so that by the time we get round to the spring, we're rebirthing the new. We're giving new life to that whatever we choose to be. I would love to believe that's why school starts in September. I don't believe that's true, but this time is magical. This is a beautiful, magical time. And so, as you go out tonight, as you take your children around, as you dress up and spread candy and good cheer, think about what it is you would like to create going forward, because that's going to be rebirthed with the new light at solstice. That's what the solstice is the rebirth of the new light. And so we're headed into that time, and this time between the worlds is when we get to actually, what is it we want? What is it we want? We're very, very, very good at saying what we don't want. We know what we don't want, and we know how to say that. Well, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that, right? But it's harder for us to actually pinpoint what we do want. And this time is an invitation. It's a natural invitation for us to do that, so that we get to create it and rebirth it at the solstice. And then we feed it and we share it and we water it and we shelter it until the spring, when it can really sprout. Just like a garden, just like the earth, just like the plants, just like everything is cyclical. And we're cyclical beings. And in the ancient times, they knew this intimately because they lived so close to the land. Obviously, in modern times, we don't live that close to the land anymore, but there are people and there are sects that do, and they honor this time. I mean, there are so many cultures around the world that celebrate this day, this season, today, tomorrow, next couple of days, as powerful days. Christians have All Saints Day and All Souls Day, and Mexicans and have the Day of the Dead. There's an honoring. There's an honoring of those who came before us, and the gifts, and there's an honoring of the ancestors. There's an honoring of those who have gone in spirit. I spent some time thinking this morning and this weekend about my grandparents and my and people who have passed on, friends and family, and even older, the wisdom. I invited them in. I also invited in the ancient beings, the Marians and the light beings that were inhabiting the planet, that eons ago, because I wanted to share that. I want to be a light, a guiding force. That's what drives me, is I want to be the light. And I invite all of you to think about your own ancestors and your own journey and your own, and the gifts that they've given you, and what they would be asking of you, what what you're being called to do and serve right now. One of my favorite songs is Sarah McLachlan singing the Prayer of St. Francis, which I will post down below. You can listen to it, and often I will ask my clients and my students to like list a song that they feel like perfectly embodies their life. And that song for me has always been that. It starts with, Lord, of course the words escaped me right now. It doesn't matter. I'll post it. Basically, make me a vehicle, make me a vessel, so that I can be your light. Let me spread peace where there is darkness, and light, and let me be your vessel. Essentially, it's beautiful, and that's mine. That's my call. That's my journey. That's my mission in the world. And so, during this time of the veil thinning and the worlds being connected, I'm asking you, what's your mission? What's your calling? What is your light here to do on the planet? Because we need you. The world needs your light. Truly, 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 we're in this upheaval, and it is upheaval so that we can change things that no longer work, and fix what's broken, and it has to things have to crumble and destroy so that we can make space for the new. So our job is to hold our light as bright and big and fierce and strong as we possibly can. That's our job. Right now, we need to come in internally to know what that even is. Our light. Not necessarily what they told us our light should be, but what our light is called to be in this world right now. So I wish you a happy Halloween, a happy Samhain, a happy New Year, happy All Souls and All Saints Day. Let's honor our ancestors by being the best, most authentic versions of ourselves that we can, just for today. And I will see you back here next week.